At 65, Sean Penn, Hollywood's most unpredictable man, finally opens a door he's kept locked for decades. Two-time Oscar winner, activist, rebel, outcast. For 40 years, he's been the man who burns bridges and builds art from the ashes. But now, from the quiet of his Malibu home, Sean Penn has revealed something no one expected. A private list of 5 stars he despises the most. 5 names that, in his own words, taught me that fame doesn't corrupt people. It just reveals who they already were. He's fought presidents, reporters, producers, even himself. But these names, these are personal. They come from betrayal, from love turned toxic, and from the kind of truth only time can force out. One insider close to Penn said, "He never forgets, but he rarely forgives." This list isn't about hate. It's about unfinished business. 5 names, 5 stories, each one a scar that shaped the man the world calls both a genius and a madman. Let's begin with number 5. Number 5, Alejandro González Iñárritu. Their collaboration on 21 Grams was supposed to be legendary. 2 perfectionists, 1 raw masterpiece. But on set, their egos clashed like thunder. Iñárritu wanted surgical precision, recalled a camera operator. Sean wanted chaos, spontaneity, blood on the lens. The result was war. During one crucial scene, Penn rewrote his dialogue on the spot. Iñárritu yelled, "You can't change my script." Penn shot back, "I'm not acting your words, I'm living mine." Naomi Watts once admitted that the tension was so intense she cried in her trailer after takes. Crew members stopped speaking above a whisper. "You could feel the air split," one said. 2 men with God complexes in one room. It was biblical. After 21 Grams, they never spoke again. When asked about Iñárritu years later, Penn said flatly, "He directs pain, but doesn't feel it." To outsiders, it was just artistic conflict. But to Penn, it was betrayal. The day friendship turned to performance, and truth was replaced by control. Number 4, Wyclef Jean. Sean Penn didn't just donate to Haiti after the 2010 earthquake. He lived there. He slept in tents, carried supplies, and spent months working shoulder to shoulder with locals. To him, Haiti wasn't charity, it was redemption. So when musician Wyclef Jean began raising millions through his foundation, Yele Haiti, Penn wanted to believe in him. But soon, whispers reached him. Money missing, promises broken. At a press conference, Penn's frustration boiled over. "I didn't come here to pose for cameras," he said. "People need help, not headlines." The world heard the subtext. He was talking about Wyclef. Wyclef hit back, accusing Penn of being a Hollywood colonizer. He claimed Penn didn't understand Haiti's spirit. But insiders said Penn had seen the books, and the numbers didn't add up. Their feud divided an already fragile cause. Aid workers took sides, politicians picked favorites. When Wyclef's charity collapsed under investigation, Penn stayed silent. But a close friend recalled, "He didn't celebrate, he just said, 'Truth doesn't need applause.'" For Penn, Haiti was sacred, and anyone who exploited it was beyond forgiveness. Number 3, Harvey Weinstein. For years, Harvey Weinstein was Sean Penn's ally, his gatekeeper to greatness. Together, they made films that defined the early 2000s. Mystic River, 21 Grams, She's So Lovely. Penn admired his drive, his ruthlessness, until he saw the monster behind the curtain. When the allegations broke, Penn was silent for days, then disappeared. Insiders said he was devastated, not just by Weinstein's crimes, but by his own blindness. He thought the Harvey was just another Hollywood bully. one producer said. He didn't know he was standing next to the devil. Worse still, Weinstein reportedly used Penn's name to intimidate young actresses, claiming the actor was on his side. It made Penn sick. He told a friend, "He stole my integrity without even asking." In the months after, Penn donated portions of his past earnings to women's shelters, but he never spoke Weinstein's name again. For a man who had spent a lifetime fighting systems of power, discovering that he'd unknowingly served one was shattering. He once said quietly, "The greatest horror is realizing the villain used your silence as armor." Number 2, Madonna. Their marriage was fire and gasoline, passion so fierce it burned everything around it. He was the bad boy. She was the queen. Together, they were an explosion Hollywood couldn't look away from. From 1985 to 1989, their relationship was a public battlefield. Fights spilled into tabloids. Headlines screamed of chaos. Behind closed doors, it was worse. Love turned into destruction. During one now infamous night in Malibu, neighbors heard shouting, glass breaking, and police sirens. Rumors of violence never left them, even after denials. Both survived the storm, but neither came out whole. Years later, Madonna called him the love of my life, yet the shadow lingered. "She taught me that passion can't save broken people," Penn confessed privately, and that fame turns love into a weapon. When they met again at a charity gala decades later, they hugged. Cameras flashed, but insiders swear that afterward, Penn told a friend, "Some ghosts wear perfume." It wasn't bitterness. It was memory, the kind that never fades, only transforms. Number 1, Robin Wright. If Madonna was fire, Robin Wright was gravity. Steady, grounding, impossible to escape. They met on State of Grace in the late 80s and built what looked like redemption. Children, a home, peace. For a while, Sean Penn believed he had finally outrun his demons. But love for him was always a war between calm and chaos. Robin wanted quiet stability. Sean wanted the storm. Their marriage spanned 2 decades of brilliance and destruction. They split, reconciled, split again. Each reunion shorter than the last. By 2010, it was over. When the divorce papers were signed, Penn reportedly whispered, "You just ended the best thing I ever tried to be." Robin didn't respond. She walked away, choosing silence over fire. Afterward, their careers took opposite paths. Robin soared with House of Cards. Penn disappeared into war zones and activism. But friends say he never recovered. She wasn't just his wife, one said. She was his compass. When she left, he lost north. When asked years later what he'd say to her if he could, Penn smiled sadly. Nothing. She already heard every version of me, even the one I hated. But here's what few understand. That list, those 5 names, wasn't written out of anger. It was written out of survival. In a private journal later leaked by a confidant, Penn wrote, "You don't really hate people. You just hate the part of yourself they exposed." Alejandro showed him ego. Wyclef showed him hypocrisy. Harvey showed him fear. Madonna showed him desire. Robin showed him loss. When the list went public, the press framed it as Sean Penn's wrath. But in truth, it was a requiem. A man trying to forgive the reflections of his own mistakes. A journalist once asked if he regretted naming them. He replied quietly, "Regret is for people still pretending to be innocent." Now, at 65, Sean Penn lives like a ghost who still breathes fire. He makes fewer films, gives fewer interviews, but every time he speaks, the world listens. not because they agree, but because they know he means it. He spends his days between writing, activism, and rebuilding places the world has forgotten. Yet those who've seen him up close say the old intensity remains. "He walks like a man chasing peace," said one journalist, "but always one step behind it." Penn once wrote, "Fame is a mirror that shows you the cracks you can't fix." Maybe that's the truth behind his confession. Maybe those 5 names weren't enemies at all, just mirrors reflecting a life lived too loudly, too fiercely, too humanly. 5 names, 5 ghosts, and one man who finally stopped running from them. Because for Sean Penn, redemption isn't silence. It's learning to live with the echoes.